So, do you think we have to express the word only in your mind, or we can express
Outward. Yes.
outward? Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you something. You know who Marcy Shimoff is? She wrote Happy for No Reason and Love for No Reason and 15 million chicken soup books she sold. She didn't write 15 million chicken soup books, but she sold 15 million chicken soup books. She was one of my students in the early 80s, and she is one of the most brilliant women I've ever met. I mean, brilliant, gorgeous, good, loving. I can't say enough about her. And out of my 3-day seminar, her favorite principle is the principle of cancel. And cancel is simply when you hear yourself saying something that you don't want to manifest, you say cancel, okay? And then you state what you do want to manifest. Like, for example, there are just no good men in Chicago.
Cancel.
What are you going to draw to yourself? No good men. Cancel. There are so many good men in Chicago. I am so happy I live here. And you could feel the difference in the vibration.
Yes. Cool.
And that's it.
And so the first step is to choose the words. The second step is to say them with a good energy, and the third to write down what you are thinking.
You know, there's another technique that I would love to share my take on the technique of visualization.
Yes, it can be fun.
Because sometimes people say, oh, I visualized and it didn't work. Well, again, you can't just visualize, money pouring down on you and then go out and be dishonest and cheat and lie and steal. No, okay? But you can visualize in the proper way. It's all about raising your vibration. It's all about raising your vibration. So I give this example. When I first started my company in the early 80s, no one had heard of the law of attraction. It was just the domain of the people, science of mind and Church of Religious Science. It was almost like a secret cult, okay? And when I learned about the law of attraction, I thought the world needs to know this. And I want to bring this out to the world. So there are 3 principles that I used when I started my company. One is I didn't tell anybody what I was doing until I took significant steps towards the manifestation of my company. The reason, what is sacred should be kept secret. In English, the word sacred, which is holy, and secret come from the same root. And your precious ideas of what you're going to do are sacred to you. And if you share them with people too early, one thing might be that people will tell you, oh, that'll never work. You won't be good at that.
It's impossible.
We call it the discouragement committee. The people who are going to tell you all of the reasons why your idea won't work. Okay. The other thing is, you probably know people who are always talking about what they're going to do and they never do it. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. You know why? Because they're using up the energy in the telling. If I had $1 for every person who told me that they were going to write a book, I'd be a millionaire by now. More of a millionaire. Because when people say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, it's like letting the steam out of the kettle. Keep that steam in the kettle. And then one day it's going to have to burst forth as your book. But every time you tell somebody what you're going to do, and remember what I said about the words actually contain the thing itself. So when you say, I am going to write a book on organic gardening in Alaska, okay? You say you're going to do that and you tell so many people. So on some energetic level, you've already created it. And also when people say, if they say, that's a great idea, you have the satisfaction, ooh, that was a great idea. You don't even have to do it. You've already gotten the praise for it. So there's many reasons why you don't tell people what you're going to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, but do you think we can share our goal with our mentor, for example?
Yes. Yes. If there is somebody who you need to have as a business partner or a mentor, but sometimes you shouldn't even share your goals with your spouse, with your husband, with your wife, with your parents, because sometimes they're the ones who will tell you why it's not going to work. So be very careful with whom you share your very precious goals, especially when they're tiny little sprouts that can easily be crushed. Wait until they're strong trees that even if somebody tells you it won't work, well, it's a strong tree. Yes, it is working. So when I started my company, I didn't tell a soul. And for 4 months, I kept it a secret. And then when it was time, when I had the seminar put together, I looked for a room to do the seminar in, and it was in California at the Santa Monica Public Library. And only when I went and put up the posters, that was when I told people what I was going to do. And guess what? People said, who's going to believe a crazy idea like you create your world with your thoughts? No one's going to believe that. But the posters were already up. And another very important principle of success is, first of all, don't wait until everything is perfectly in place, because there is never going to be a time when everything is perfectly in place. There will always be loose ends. So loose ends and all, take a step from which there's no turning back. What I did, I put up the posters. Debra Poneman, or I had a different name back then, Olson. I had many names. Debra Olson to give lecture on saying yes to success. So I put up the posters, and then when the discouragement committee told me why it wasn't going to work, it was too late. I had taken a step from which there is no turning back. Do you see? These are good principles.
Yes.
And the other thing is about visualization, which is what I originally said I was going to tell you, is I didn't close my eyes and visualize the room will be full at the Santa Monica Public Library. The room will be full. The room will be full. No. What I did was I visualized the room full of people with open hearts and people who were so appreciative of what I was sharing with them. And I felt the joy of being able to serve these people, of being able to give something of value to these people. And in my visualization, when I felt a shift and I felt my heart open and I felt the gratitude for being able to help transform these people's lives, then I knew that the visualization was successful. Not just the room will be full, the room will be full. You see the difference?
Yes, I see the difference. And